Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show Thursday edition. And I guess what, day number 3 of the government shutdown? Is that correct? Yeah, I guess so. If I could keep, let me see, 1, 2, 3. Day 3, we have breaking news as we take to the airwaves, and it involves what was a lockdown at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. It turns out, and thankfully this is all it turns out to be, the lockdown has now been lifted. It was in effect, I'd say, for about 20 minutes or so. People were told to stay inside, stay away from windows, lock your doors. This was after a report of gunshots near the Hart Senate office building on the west side of the Capitol. And all kinds of speculation. Gunshots were heard. Some people described it as firecrackers going off. They said about 12 or so shots or firecracker-like sounds. And here's what it turned out to be. A car chase. A car chase that started around the White House, ended up at the Capitol. The driver got out and apparently tried to run or got out. And when he got out, shots were exchanged. Whether he was firing or just fired upon is not clear yet. The driver, whether he's injured or not, is not clear. One police officer, one D.C. police officer has been injured and has been taken to a hospital, flown to an area hospital. But that's it as far as we know. Now, there are reports, there's a Drudge headline that this car rammed a barricade at the White House and was then chased and surrounded and chased down to the Capitol. And when he was surrounded, he got out, and that's when the footage over and over, and I said, look where they're all surrounding this black car, which appeared to be a town car-like car. 10 cops around it. The incident had already taken place. They were putting medics or cops with gloves were administering, you could tell, to someone on the driver's side, some kind of medical assistance. And I kept saying in the newsroom, look, they keep showing this, but no one's acknowledging this. No one's saying, look at this car. Look at the people around it. This car must be involved in something. God forbid there's a senator in there or a staff member that was shot or hurt. Something is with this car. And then it turns out, lo and behold, that's the car that was involved in the chase. And CNN had been showing it over and over and over, and nobody said boo about it. Call me Eagle Eye Malzberg, I guess. Not only that, they also showed a police officer, taking a little girl and running with her. It looked to me like an African-American little girl and running away from the scene with her, comforting her, covering her up. And they say a toddler was retrieved from the car, so that's probably the girl. So all these things that we picked up on in the newsroom here while watching, they didn't say anything about on CNN. They just kept, talking live to their correspondents. What did you hear? What's going on? Where are you? Which is all fine, but they had the footage of a car. Now, first thought through my mind was the worst. God forbid that's, like I said, a senator or a staff member. It's a black town car-looking car, and I don't think it's a town car now that I see it again, because they're still showing that footage over and over again. But anyway, thank God it wasn't worse. The lockdown is over. The chase began at the White House. The car did hit a security barrier. The driver led police on a chase to the Capitol, and the lockdown is over. The chase is over. one injured police officer, flown to a hospital, and now we try to get back to normal the best we can over at the Capitol. We had some guests that we were supposed to speak to at the top of the show, one from Washington, one coming up. We don't know if that's going to happen now. Their schedules have been thrown off a little bit. At the top of the show, one from Washington, one coming up. We don't know if that's going to happen now. Their schedules have been thrown off a little bit. The frightening part also was that you had visitors to Washington, D.C., to the Capitol, notwithstanding the lockout, that were walking around and were told to get down and were, crouching behind trees. Very scary situation. And I guess in this day and age, that's what has to be done. When there are shots fired, there's a procedure in place to protect everybody that they could possibly protect. But again, according to the sources in Washington, all reports indicated that there was a chase. A car rammed a barrier at the White House, led the cops on a chase to the Capitol, where the car was surrounded. The driver, now we understand, when he got out of the car, exchanged fire with the cops, who obviously returned fire. One officer was wounded and has been flown to a hospital. I don't know what the status of the driver is, medically speaking, and whether that little girl that I saw carried is, in fact, the little girl or the toddler that has been described in some of the stories on The Wire as being in the car that was removed by the police. So that's as much as we know right now. There's really not a lot more that we could take the story with or give you on that story. The lockdown has been lifted. Now, let's get on to where we are right now and where we are today. President last night, we got Susan. Okay, let's get a final report on this and sum it all up with our friend who's been kind enough to be with us now 3 days in a row and call in on this, which is thankfully over. Susan Ferrecchio, chief congressional correspondent from the Washington Examiner. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Hey, Steve.
Must have been scary for a while, right?
It was. Well, I will say that it's not atypical in D.C. for there to be outside crime that kind of migrates onto the Capitol grounds and ends up, with a police chase or some kind of drama. No one really is sure right now what the motives are behind this, but it sounds like it started somewhere else and ended up here, like the car speeding through the barriers and a police chase. There are a lot of police here and a lot of barriers, and sometimes when crime ends up over here, I don't think these guys are expecting all these cops and all the response, but it certainly ended up that way. And what happened with us is we were, I work in the press gallery here in the Capitol, and they just came in and said, there's a lockdown, you can't go anywhere, which is what happens if there's a threat on the campus anywhere. And we have an annunciator box in here where a voice comes over and says, shelter in place and stay away from the windows. Even though reporters, your instinct is to go run to the scene, but then they tell you, oh, you can't move anywhere. So it's kind of frustrating too. But I could see out the windows people running and panic on the pathways around me. So it's kind of frustrating too. But I could see out the windows people running and panic on the pathways around me. In a car, a crime from outside the Capitol. The guy came speeding through, and he had a weapon in his car, and he ended up getting shot by the Capitol Police in front of the Capitol on the east side, across from Supreme Court. So it's D.C., it's a city, so there's crime here, but there's also, of course, there's the Capitol here.
Well, let me give you an update. Let me give you a little update, Susan. We're getting reports. CNN is reporting that the driver, the suspect, is a woman, and there's a report on the Drudge Report that the driver, the female suspect, is dead, is what they're saying.
I heard that.
Yeah, so
I heard that.
Again, so apparently this person rammed the barricade at the White House,
right,
and was chased down to the Capitol, and then the gunfire was exchanged with the suspect when I guess she got out of the car, and there was a little girl, I think, which might have been in the car, because I read reports that there was a toddler, and I did see a girl being carried away by cops. So is that what you also heard reports, that there was a toddler, and I did see a girl being carried away by cops. So is that what you also heard?
the child unharmed. I was also told that there was an officer injured and that that person has been medevaced away.
Yes.
From here. So it's a pretty dramatic that person has been medevaced away.
Yes.
From here. So it's a pretty dramatic here. The one thing that's different about today, Steve, is that, as you know, we're in the middle of this big fight over federal funding. Well, tours have stopped because the federal government's not being funded fully right now. Fight over federal funding. Well, tours have stopped because the federal government's not being funded fully right now. More people here outside and inside the Capitol. So the situation was controlled more quickly by the police, and people were able to get out of the way faster because there were just fewer of them. So we didn't have sheer panic in the hallways here because the hallways are empty.
Right.
So
right.
It really was. It was handled, rather easily.
But I would guess, Susan, though, that it's also maybe the anxiety that also enhances the anxiety because of the reason why the hallways were empty, because there is a focal point on Washington with the lockdown. with the shutdown, and you never know. Right away you think maybe it's a disgruntled person or an angry person or a group of people, and they, am I right? Does that maybe add to the tension and the anxiety at the time? Am I right? Does that maybe add to the tension and the anxiety at the time?
Staff being told to go home, and the empty hallways, the uncertainty, the debt ceiling fight coming up. What's going to, and of course, what else adds to it is just listen to the debate on the House and Senate floors. It's become so partisan and angry. So certainly there is that feeling around here that things are spinning out of control, if you will. But don't forget that the Capitol here people here are always a little bit on edge because it's considered a target just in general for whatever. So people here are always a little, when we hear that enunciator go up, I always go listen. I always walk right over.
Well,
those of us who were here before September 11th and after know that you need to just be really vigilant.
Well, we are glad that certainly you are safe and that the injuries were held to a minimum as far as law enforcement and civilians, and it's over. And we thank you as always. Quickly, while I got you, just one question: where the heck is this thing going? I mean, they're dug in. It seems more than ever. At least the president is. I
see this happening in the form of a big deal that combines the short-term government funding and long-term government funding, where we fund the government for 2014, and we combine that with a deal to raise the borrowing limit.
But the president, so he's going to change?
I've heard Democrats say they like that in the Senate, and that's meaningful.
Okay.
I heard Chuck Schumer say, hey, we need to start combining these two things. We're running out of time. I know I've heard Democrats in the House say they don't like it. I think they'll be overruled because I think people realize the clock is running out. It's like a football game. They're looking for a path to victory here, a path through the crowd, without getting tackled. I think that combined effort will give everybody a little bit of what they want, and that's how you ease these deals over the finish line. So I think that's what's going to happen.
All right. Susan, thank you so very much. We always appreciate you coming on.
Anytime, Steve.
All right, take care. Susan Ferrecchio, ladies and gentlemen, who was there in the thick of it, and thank God, like I said, just not just, but only, you know how I mean it, the one injury to the officer, flown to a hospital. Apparently the intelligence sources are telling CNN no apparent tie to terrorism. This woman is apparently dead. She was the driver of the car. The police are saying they did not know there was a little girl in the car when they opened fire. But thank God, apparently she was not injured. We don't know the relationship of the woman to the girl, but I'm sure all this will come out, and we'll bring it to you. You want to weigh in? 855-777-9660. Did you hear about this? When you heard about it, did you think it was worse? Did you think it was related to the shutdown? I'd love to know. And do you think Susan's right on target that there'll be a combined debt ceiling and CR deal when this is all said and done? 855-777-9660, he said, on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get verse.com. We reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is LigNet? LigNet is knowledge. LigNet is power. LigNet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is LigNet? LigNet is confidential. LigNet is sensitive. LigNet is security. What is LigNet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
As reckless as a government shutdown is, as many people as are being hurt by a government shutdown, an economic shutdown that results from default would be dramatically worse. In a government shutdown, Social Security checks still go out on time. In an economic shutdown, if we don't raise the debt ceiling, they don't go out on time. In a government shutdown, disability benefits still arrive on time. In an economic shutdown, they don't.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Barack Obama pulling out the Social Security card, if you will, trying to scare seniors in the event of a failure to reach an agreement on raising the debt ceiling. And remember, raising the debt ceiling is something that Senator Barack Obama, voted against. I believe it was in 2006. But he's going around saying, there's a negotiation to be had. You raise the debt ceiling. You pay for your bills. You have full faith and credit. You know, the whole spiel, Social Security checks. But he voted not to raise the debt ceiling. See, this is the hypocrisy of Barack Obama and the Democrats. I heard Barbara Boxer. Now, Ashley Banfield, who did a terrible interview a couple of days ago with Congressman Blackburn and Dana Rohrabacher, to her credit, did a good one today with Barbara Boxer and held her to account. Barbara Boxer claiming that there was never a government shutdown under Tip O'Neill. Never a government shutdown, which was a lie and just a blatant lie, and Ashley Banfield called her out on that. And then Barbara Boxer claimed that, and she was not called out on this, and now I don't even remember what the heck it was, but the congressman who we're going to speak to later on, Congressman Bill Johnson, corrected what Barbara Boxer had said. Oh, that the health care bill, Barbara Boxer stood there and said to Ashley Banfield that the health care bill, Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, whatever you want to call it, was passed with Democrats and Republicans, bipartisan. Really? Now, Banfield didn't know enough to say to her, excuse me? There wasn't one Republican vote in the House or the Senate for Obamacare. Not one. But at least Bill Johnson followed up and corrected the record. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be joined by the president of Citizens for Self-Government, who is also the co-founder of Tea Party Patriots, Mark Meckler, will join us. And he's also suing over the IRS treatment of his group. When we come back, right here, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or prediabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real holding-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
When you were younger, You probably never considered your heart health, but cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news. Now, you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Steve Malzberg Show. The Capitol Police are going to hold a press conference momentarily or any minute, but I don't know what that means, so we'll go to it if we can when it starts. Joining us now, though, is our first guest. It's Mark Meckler, president of Citizens for Self-Government, co-founder of Tea Party Patriots. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I am excellent. A little bit concerned about the Capitol, but other than that, it's a bright day in America.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take you up on explaining that in a second, or what you meant. But yeah, obviously that event is over. We do have one injured police officer and apparently one dead suspect, and a female who led the police on a car chase to the Capitol from the White House. We'll get more information, so hopefully you'll be able to bear with us if they start the press conference. But you said it's a bright day in America. You're referring to the government shutdown?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not that I'm excited by the fact that the government is shut down, but I am excited by the fact that somebody's actually finally standing up for the American people. I mean, it's really extraordinary to see politicians in Washington, D.C., who are actually doing the will of the people who sent them there to fight the good fight.
Yeah, and, it's we had the president today. Well, let's start with yesterday. I mean, meeting with the leaders of the Congress and basically telling them the same things he told Boehner on the phone the day before, which was, I'm not going to negotiate. I'm not going to negotiate with you. So, where do you see this going? You are on the side of the Republicans who are standing firm, or would you like to see them acquiesce in any way, shape, or form? And how far would you like to see them take this?
Well, first of all, to be clear, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm not on the side of the Republicans per se. I'm actually on the side of the American people, and this is the extraordinary thing to me about the narrative being driven across the country. I've done lots of interviews, and almost every journalist, you haven't done this, but almost every journalist asked me the question, do you think it's okay for the Republicans to be shutting down the government?
Well, that's insane because they're not.
Well, they're not, and beyond that, they're actually representing the majority of the American people. The majority of the American people have never supported Obamacare. There's never been beyond 51 support for Obamacare, 51% support. Today, support is at an all-time low. So you've got a party, you've got some people who are actually standing up for the will of the American people. The question that I have for the media and for the Democrats is, when will one Democrat, stand up and stand for the majority of the American people. As I see it, no Democrats are actually standing for the American people.
Well, in my view, and I'm sure you will agree, it's not only are they not standing for the American people, they're standing against the American people. You know, the Republicans have taken the initiative and have passed, as they call it, piecemeal. You know, they passed funding for the National Institute of Health, which would help specifically kids and adults with cancer. And the Democrats will not touch that. They passed a bill to help the D.C. government, and we saw how vital the D.C. government is today in the actions at the Capitol. And they said no to that as well. Stay on hold for a second, Mark. We have the press conference now, Will. If we could pick that up. We have the Capitol Police conference. Let's listen in.
That lockdown's been released. We have no information that this is related to terrorism or is anything other than an isolated incident.
Which is the condition of the vehicle?
We are working, the Metropolitan Police Department is handling the shooting scene investigation and obviously assisting the Secret Service and the U.S. Capitol Police.
How many people in the vehicle?
We are still investigating that possibility. We believe there was a child in the car, and we're still collecting those facts.
Was the police officer shot?
I don't have a condition on the person in the car at this time.
What about you? Is there any about the police officer to this emergency, sir?
Pardon me?
Is there any plan to secure different locations of the federal government, like White House, Capitol, in case of this incident?
No. This appears to be an isolated incident with this one vehicle involved. There's been coordination between all the agencies that I just mentioned, including the FBI. So both scenes are under control.
And again, description of the vehicle.
I do not have that.
Chief,
right
the
now.
condition of the injured officer?
On the way, as I mentioned, one of our officers was struck in his scout car. He appears to be conscious and breathing, but we're following up.
And no officer shot, Chief?
As far as we know, no officer has been shot.
Chief John, there was a lady involved in that?
Pardon me?
The driver of the other car was a lady, was a woman?
We believe so.
Chief John, where were shots fired? At the White House and here?
We're still investigating that. Obviously, we have multiple scenes.
All right,
so
we could dump out of this because obviously, and we're talking with our guest Mark Meckler, president of Citizens for Self-Government, co-founder of Tea Party Patriots. We're not learning anything significant. He's not even confirming that there was a child in the vehicle, not even confirming that the, as we had heard earlier, that the woman who was the suspect is dead or alive. So there's not much information, so I don't think it's worth staying in there for that. So, Mark, let's get back to you for a second. And I was talking about how the Democrats and Harry Reid have gone to the point of refusing to even pass anything that the Republicans put forward to keep various parts of the government running that would help the American people, including the National Institute of Health, where yesterday Harry Reid, when asked by Dana Bash, but if you could save one child who has cancer, why wouldn't you do it? And he said, why would we want to do that? He said, I have people on furlough at an Air Force base in Nevada, and they have their own problems. Well, now he's trying to walk that statement back, but that was the height of, I don't even know what to call it, ignorance, arrogance, disgrace. But that's where the Democrats are right now. And I know you don't want to get political, but they could keep various parts of the government running, but they don't even want to do that.
No, and I'm happy to get political. I'm working on a piece right now. I actually believe what you're seeing evidence of, is the Democrats are actually at war with the American people. They know the American people don't support them. They know the American people don't support Obamacare. Yet, if you go all the way back to the beginning of Obamacare, they started, Nancy Pelosi obviously famously saying, you have to pass the bill to see what's in it. Now we've seen what's in it. We like it even less. They just don't care. They are at war. They are at odds with the American people. The American people want the parks open. The veterans show up at the World War II Memorial. Amazingly, in order to shut down that memorial, you've probably been there, they have to use federal funds and federal personnel to shut it down. I've been there a dozen times. I've never seen a federal employee at that memorial. But they actually spent our money during a shutdown to shut that thing down. That is in order to punish the American people. And you can read story after story across the country now of things they're shutting down that they don't have to, but they intend to punish the American people. And I think the American people are seeing right through it, Steve. That's the good part.
Yeah, I got a story about Mount Vernon, I believe, where Mount Vernon, which is private property, they've got a barricade and a sign on that as well. So you're absolutely right. Now you are also, of course, as in your role as co-founder of Tea Party Patriots, you are suing. You're leading a class action lawsuit against the IRS. We should never forget about that, what that scandal's all about, or Benghazi, or the other things that have gone on in this administration, and get sidetracked. We're all sidetracked by the news of the day, which with this administration seems to be one disaster after the next. But talk about the status of that lawsuit and how many groups you're representing in that suit.
Sure. We were on the phone with the plaintiffs yesterday. This lawsuit was filed. The lead plaintiff is the NorCal Tea Party versus the IRS. There are 21 named plaintiffs in the litigation right now. It's actually the only litigation in the nation that's a class action filed against the IRS for its targeting and abuse of not only Tea Party groups, Christian groups, Constitution groups, Liberty groups, pro-Israel groups, all these people that didn't agree with administration policies. Again, what we're seeing, going back to the same theme, this is the war of the government against people who disagree with it. And so that litigation is now in federal court in Ohio. Amazingly, right when the president started calling the IRS scandal a quote-unquote phony scandal, at that point the government moved to dismiss the case. Even though they've admitted wrongdoing, they moved to dismiss the case, saying that there is no case. So we're proceeding with that. The lawyer that we've hired is a former U.S. attorney, a federal prosecutor, a tough guy. We've told him to treat this like a criminal prosecution. We're going to prosecute these IRS employees like the criminal thugs they are. And if people want to know about that litigation, they can learn more about that at suetheirs.com.
Yeah, and talk about the Convention of States as well.
Well, Stephen, as you watch what's going on in Washington, D.C., we sent a huge class of really good men and women to Washington, D.C. in 2010. A lot of people thought we would see a lot of change. We didn't. And I don't believe we will. I think we should continue to try and elect good men and women that go to D.C. on our behalf, but I don't believe they're going to change things. The system is stacked against the people. The real question in this country right now is the question of who decides. And the underlying premise in every debate we have at the national level is that somehow these decisions should be made in Washington, D.C. The reason for that is because the federal government has become this vast leviathan that the founders never anticipated and that the people really don't want. This week, 60% of Americans, according to Gallup, said that the federal government is too big. I can do math pretty well, and that's not all Republicans, it's not all conservatives, and it's not all Tea Partiers. That's the large majority of the American public. And the only way to restrain the federal government is through a little gem that the founders gave us in Article 5 that allows us to bring an amending convention for the purpose specifically of restraining the power, jurisdiction, and scope of the federal government. So we have a project. People can check that out and volunteer at conventionofstates.com, and we are organizing just such a convention.
All right. Well, I hope people do that, Mark, and I thank you very much for your time and for putting up with the break to the update from the Capitol Police. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
My pleasure. Mark Meckler, ladies and gentlemen, president of Citizens for Self-Government, co-founder of Tea Party Patriots, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I do want to let you know of another story which I have not seen reported. It's an AP story, but I've been watching I have the cable stations on, but I have the sound on CNN ever since I got here today, about almost 4 hours ago, and I have not heard this once. Not heard this once, and I don't even know how it's possible that I haven't heard it once. A congressman from Wisconsin, Congressman Sean Duffy, a vocal advocate of delaying the rollout of Obamacare, was screamed at and grabbed by a stranger as he walked to the Capitol to vote on legislation earlier today. This is well before anything that's been going on at the Capitol. His office said in an email that he reported the incident to the police as required by U.S. House security procedures, but asked for no further action and has no comment on what happened. He's a professional lumberjack, and he appeared on MTV's The Real World in the 90s. He voted for legislation that would have avoided a government shutdown but halted the implementation of the Obamacare law. how could this not be news that you had a congressman assaulted, accosted, harassed even while walking to do his job? I could only assume it's because it's a Republican. Just as when that congressman from Carolina, I can't remember his name, I'm drawing a blank, when he grabbed a young man who approached him and had a camera running and asked him something. This is several years ago, remember? And he said, "Who are you?" The congressman, "Who are you?" And he wound up grabbing the guy by the neck. Well, he got a pass from the media for grabbing the guy by the neck, the congressman did. He was a Democratic congressman. So apparently if a Democratic congressman assaults somebody, they get a pass. And if a Republican congressman is assaulted, that's not mentionable either. Hey, I guess that's the way of the world in the Obama nation. We'll come back. You want to weigh in on what's going on? Should the Republicans cave? Should the Republicans give in, as Peter King and some others are saying they should? Is it gone far enough? Have they made their point? Or should they stick this out? And for how long? What say you? I hate saying what say you. I take that back. What do you say? 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, glad to say that we have our friend Congressman Peter King from New York, Republican, of course, on the line. Hey, Congressman, how are you, sir?
Doing fine, Steve.
Thanks for making time. I know we got really messed up from the lockdown. Tell us where you were and how it affected you.
Actually, I didn't realize it, but I was right near it. In fact, a Yahoo reporter went to Fox News and said that he was interviewing me at the time it happened. I was walking on the House side of the Capitol, from the Capitol building to the Cannon office building at about 2:24 or so. I entered the interview with him and crossed the street and went into my building, the Cannon building. And just as I arrived in the building, these screeching noises go off, which are, the notice that something very serious has happened, and the alarm came over. It said shots fired, and there was a shooter. And for everyone to immediately go to their office, lock the doors, stay away from the windows, and then you could see all the police vehicles coming. And that was about 2:25. Then 2:28, we got the official notification of a lockdown. And
now, what's going through your mind, given the circumstances of the government shutdown and everything? What are you thinking?
Actually, I'm thinking of two things, and I'm only saying it now because I didn't want to even speculate before. I thought it could definitely have been involved with the government shutdown. It could have been a disgruntled employee, a disgruntled citizen, and then also, ever since 9/11, you have to think that it could be a terrorist attack. That it could be tied into that. You have to always assume there's potential of that. So,
right. Well, thank God, it didn't get too far. One police officer injured, and we don't know the extent, and we don't know whether or not the woman driver was killed by the police or not. But we'll find that out. I'm glad everybody's okay except for the officer and the perpetrator. Let's move on because I know you got votes in a few minutes. Yeah. What are you going to be voting on?
Today we're actually voting on. I think this one is on the National Guard and Reservists to ensure that they get paid. That's my understanding of the next vote that's coming up.
So you're voting on you voted to fund the National Institute. When you heard Harry Reid say what he said in answer to Dana Bash on CNN, when she said, "Why won't you fund the NIH, National Institute of Health, if it saves one child with cancer?" And he said, and I'm quoting, I've played this a million times, and he said, "Well, why would we want to do that? I have 1,200 people who are on furlough at a base in Nevada. They have their own problems." I mean, could you imagine if John Boehner had said that? Or I know you're not a fan of his, but Ted Cruz? My God.
Oh, no, I agree. There's this total double standard, and I have been critical of people in the Republican Party, but I'm extremely critical of the president for not getting engaged. And what Harry Reid showed last night is, listen, I can see why they don't like the idea of us partially funding the government. I'm against the defunding of shutting down the government. Having said that, there's no reason at all why they should not be voting to open the government as the money becomes available. So if it is available for veterans, if it is available for the national parks, if it is available for the District of Columbia and for the NIH, they should definitely vote for it and want to make their case. That's where they overplay the hand and they show their true colors. And for Harry Reid to say that, it was, I don't care what your views are. When you hear, I can't think of anything more troubling to me in the world, more distressing to hear of a child with cancer. That has to be the worst nightmare. And for him to give a standard political answer when the question is about kids suffering from cancer, it was terrible. And it showed how they are dug in partisan-wise. And again, I hate to say this, if there's anything good politically comes out from it, it shows part of what John Boehner is up against.
All right, so do you believe they want it? Do you believe the president wants it? Today he demagogued, in effect, on the debt ceiling with immigration. I'm sorry, with Social Security checks, telling seniors to be, and warned the world that, hey, this we may default. You better watch it, and he's driving the markets down. But let me ask you this. Is it possible, are you hearing anything about a behind-the-scenes negotiations at all? Are you hearing anything about a possible deal combining this, some kind of budget and the raising of the debt ceiling, where this will all be one big deal, or is that a pie in the sky?
No, I'm hearing more and more, no specifics, though, that the opening the government and the debt ceiling can be brought together. Now, the bad part of that is it means the government will stay shut a while longer, but on the other hand, it could mean that all of this could be resolved sooner rather than later. I know that's what John Boehner wants. So here's the difference. And I don't think I think John should have taken a little bit of a tougher line and not close the government. Having said that, John Boehner is an institutionalist, and he wants to get the government open as much as anyone. He realizes that he's the head of the Republican Party in the House, but he's also the Speaker of the House, and he really believes in the institution. The President of the United States is head of his party, so he is the head of the Democratic Party, and the President's doing a good job making his partisan points. As President of the United States, he has an absolute obligation, no matter how bad he thinks Republicans are, no matter how wrong they are, he has an obligation to do all that he possibly can to get this government open again. He shouldn't be campaigning. He shouldn't be focusing on the politics. He can make his political point, but then as president, he's president of all the people.
Right. We got less than a minute. That's why I interrupt you, sir. You know, I'd never do that. Quickly. Are there negotiations going on, back channels, any channels that you know of?
I'm not aware of it, but I am emboldened, or I am encouraged by several things. One is there is talk coming from more and more behind-the-scenes sources, whoever they are. You're hearing it from media, you're hearing from staff people, that they do want to combine the debt ceiling with the
from the Democrats
shutdown.
too, right?
Oh yeah, they do. I mean, I think a lot of people want to get this behind us, get it worked out.
So you think there will be eventually a combination deal?
And I think we're on much stronger ground on the debt ceiling. That's why I was fighting that battle.
Okay.
That's the one we
so
can
you
really
think
win.
there'll be a deal eventually? Yes or no?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, Congressman, thank you. Go vote. I got a break.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Peter King. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you at the free website 99reverse.com. We reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, NineNineReverse.com. We reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Congressional leaders left the White House late last night without a deal to end the government shutdown, which is now well into its 3rd day. House Republicans continue to try and pass individual bills to fund parts of the government. But Senate Democrats say it's all or nothing. And today, President Obama dug in even deeper before a crowd of supporters in Maryland.
There will be no negotiations over this. The American people are not pawns in some political game. You don't get to demand some ransom in exchange for keeping the government running. You don't get to demand ransom in exchange for keeping the economy running.
Meanwhile, Politico claims Senator Ted Cruz, who has pushed hardest for the repeal Obamacare or else tactic around the shutdown, was attacked by fellow Republicans Wednesday night. Sources say GOP senators blame Cruz for the current situation that Congress is in, saying that Cruz never had a strategy. Now to Tennessee, where a church bus crash left at least 8 people dead and more than a dozen other people injured Wednesday. The accident happened just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. The bus was carrying members of the Front Street Baptist Church, which is located in Statesville, North Carolina. That bus blew a tire, crossed over the median on the interstate, and then crashed into a tractor trailer and an SUV.
In my 17 years, probably the most serious incident that I've ever been a part of.
Of the 18 people on that bus, 6 of them died. 1 person traveling in the SUV was also killed, along with the driver of the tractor trailer. 2 of the injured remain in critical condition. And a ship carrying hundreds of African migrants caught fire and sank off the Italian island of Lampedusa Thursday. That boat began taking on water after its motor went out, and according to officials, passengers set fire on the small ship in hopes of flagging down more vessels for help. But that fire spread, and rescuers were only able to save about 150 people. So far, at least 94 bodies have been recovered, and there are about 200 others still missing out at sea, including children. And this is Christopher Cruz. As he was leaving a New York courtroom yesterday, he is now officially charged with reckless driving and endangering the welfare of a child, as well as a few other charges. Police say he is the one who started that fight with the driver of an SUV and a swarm of other bikers in New York. The second man, Alan Edwards, was arrested in connection with the case, but so far Cruz is the only one to be criminally charged. Prosecutors say they intend to take this case to a grand jury, a sign that more serious charges are likely. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, giant hornets are attacking people in China. Dozens have died. Wait till you see the damage these creatures are causing. Plus a Newsmax exclusive with Congressman Ted Poe of Texas. Is there any sign of compromise on the horizon? And see why Poe is comparing President Obama to a Roman emperor.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5-ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
And welcome back. In central China, dozens of people have now died after attacks from these giant hornets. Take a look here. Many of the victims were chased down before getting caught and stung over and over, some of them as many as 200 times, according to doctors. Hospitals have been flooded as a result, according to health officials. Residents have been warned to remain vigilant, and probably a good idea to stay inside, too. Well, that war of words between Democrats and Republicans shows no signs of ending, unlike this government shutdown. And despite that meeting Wednesday night between congressional leaders and the president, we just heard the president dig in and double down, saying he refuses to negotiate with Republicans like Congressman Ted Poe. And during a Newsmax exclusive, Poe compared Obama to Emperor Nero of Rome.
Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Nero blamed the Christians, and Obama blames the Republicans.
This has been your Newsmax Now update for October 3rd. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Breaking news as we took to the air an hour ago. I'll just catch you up. There was a lockdown, not a shutdown. The shutdown, of course, is in effect, but a lockdown in and around the Capitol in Washington, D.C. People were told to stand down and stay put and close their windows, stay away from the windows, lock their doors, etc. This all, as it turned out, was the result of shots fired. Shots were fired at the end of a car chase that started reportedly at the White House when a car crashed into a barrier, and then they led the police on a chase to the Capitol. The driver, apparently a female, got out of the car, was shot by the police. We have one officer injured, flown to a nearby hospital. There were reports that the woman driver was killed. That's not been confirmed by the police. Also reports of a child in the car unharmed, not confirmed by the police. No apparent tie to terrorism. We had Congressman Peter King on earlier. Of course, he said that one of the first things that go through your mind when you're in the midst of this and being told to stay put and duck, in effect, is that terrorism could be a factor. But right now they say no terrorism involved. We'll bring you the latest updates as we go along on the Steve Malzberg Show. But right now we're joined by a very dear friend, I'm always proud to say, the Director of African American Outreach for Priests for Life and Gospel of Life Ministries, author and Newsmax contributor, Dr. Alveda King. Hey, doctor, how are you?
Wonderful, Steve. How are you? And I was just listening. Can you help me understand, because we're getting news reports, but you're probably getting more than we are. Did the lady get out of the car and start shooting?
Well, that's unclear whether or not she started shooting or not. She got out of the car, and they say shots were exchanged. When they held their press briefing, the Capitol police officer who was giving it was not very helpful in giving information. He wouldn't even say if the reports that she had been killed were true or not. Wouldn't say if there was a child in the car or not, which obviously they know. So I don't think we know all the information just yet. But this car crashed the barrier at the White House, apparently, or a barrier, hit a police officer on the way during the chase, and the police fired and said they didn't know that there was a kid in the car when they fired, but thank God that child was not apparently hurt.
Well, Steve, I'm serious. I am praying for sanity.
Yeah.
To blow over Washington, D.C. I really am. And I wrote that in my latest blog over at on my African American Outreach blog, and that's before this even happened. So, oh my goodness.
Well,
okay.
I know, Doctor, you wrote, and what drew me to you in particular today is that I received an email of your writings talking about the shutdown, the government shutdown,
Yes.
and how this had been predicted by a friend of yours, correct?
It has been. I have a prophetic friend. I'm not sharing his name. Have known him and his wife for a long time. There are many people that I pray with, and sometimes they get prophetic messages. You know, my uncle was a prophet, Martin Luther King Jr. You know that. So we get these prophetic warnings or messages, and we had this. He really did say there may be some kind of a system breakdown, a system shutdown. And we began to pray even then, back then, because, you know, that's America. We keep going through some very traumatic experiences, through the weather, through the bombings, through the shootings. And there's only so much that people can bear. So I'm really praying again. I've been praying, but we've got to keep praying. And this system shutdown, honest to goodness, nobody wants to hear this. But the big argument is really around Planned Parenthood and free birth control and easy access to abortions. And that's where they're stuck. But most of the media won't even touch it.
Well, that goes without saying they won't touch it. But obviously, you're correct. One of the major points in Obamacare that the Republicans have objected to, and that if they knew about it, most of America would object to, is that government employees will get abortion paid for by the taxpayers, and that's against the law, first of all.
And free contraceptives that give women strokes and heart attacks. And, you know, I work for Priests for Life. That's the Catholic pro-life organization. I'm a non-denominational director of African American outreach, but I'm a part of the suit from Priests for Life because they've not satisfied us. It's very possible that priests could still be required to offer insurance to us that gives free birth control and easy access to abortions. And I was a victim of abortion. I was tricked and fooled by Planned Parenthood years ago, ended up with phlebitis from those horrible contraceptives, damage from the abortions that I had to have surgery for. It was a nightmare. So now we've got legislation that they're insisting that employees help to pay for insurance to give more poison to women and kill more babies. And that is really what this shutdown argument is about.
All right. And I also want to go back to your friend because you said that your friend put an entry a few weeks ago into his
blog. He has
his blog, and said, we will be experiencing financial transition during the month of October this year. Everything that will be happening will not be seen by the public. However, at this point, the impact of what has been planned may not be as powerful as some would have liked. And they say that there are those in high, he said, there are those in high offices, or she said, and behind the scenes that had planned this quote-unquote system failure to take a huge toll on the American people. I mean, did your prophet friend give you any more information than he?
Well, there is some more, but I'm really not able to share it right now. But if you look back to 17 years ago when the Democrats and Republicans did a different shutdown, and those things are planned, and they get together behind, it was President Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich, between the two of them, in their leadership positions, there was a government shutdown for about 3 weeks. I don't know if people remember that.
Yeah, about 18 days, I think. Yep.
Oh, okay, close to 3 weeks. And so now again, with this shutdown, it's supposed to send Americans into a tailspin and a panic. People are supposed to be upset, capitulate, and accept that ludicrous, horrible Obamacare because they feel like, oh, everybody's going to not be able to eat, won't have a house, everything at the walls, Chicken Little, the sky is going to fall in. So they create these panics to get what they want. And my friend really did. I promise you, my friend said there may be some kind of shutdown in October. He really did.
What did your friend predict for the end game?
No, well, right now there's not a lot more, but based upon past history of 17 years ago, we do know that shutdowns can be orchestrated. We know that this one has happened. And now we just have to see, will America be strong enough to say to D.C., this is ridiculous, this is enough, because now the administration and Congress can continue to get their paychecks. And I guess their rationale is, well, we have to resolve this, so we have to still go to work. We can't not give up our money. And I know it was some kind of constitutional decision a while back that allows them to continue to be paid when they shut the government down and still get their checks. But I just think it's all unfair, and I do think some of it is orchestrated.
All right. Well, let me. I want you to hear a soundbite. This took place between Dana Bash of CNN and Harry Reid, the majority leader. What the Republicans have done is they've passed in the House various bills keeping different parts of the government open. For instance, the National Institute of Health, because Democrats had complained that kids with cancer couldn't get experimental treatments that they needed. So the House passed a bill that sent it on to the Senate that said, okay, let's fund the National Institute of Health. And Harry Reid said, no, we're not going to pass it. And here's the exchange. I hope I got the right cut here. Here's 53. Give a listen.
But if you can help one child who has cancer, why wouldn't you do it?
Listen.
Is that Head Start, Mama?
Why pit one against the other? Why would we want to do that? I have 1,100 people at Nellis Air Force Base that are sitting home. They have a few problems of their own. This is to have someone of your intelligence suggest such a thing. Maybe means you're irresponsible.
All right, so he insulted her intelligence and said she was being irresponsible. All she said was, if you could save one kid with cancer,
why wouldn't you do
it?
it?
And he said, why would I?
Why would I want to do
yeah,
that?
because he said, I got.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, what was your reaction?
I think that's absolutely. He showed his true colors. Didn't mean to. That's what I think. He says, why should we try to save a kid? You know, it's almost like you heard about the starfish poem. The little boy was throwing the starfish back into the sea, and the old man said, well, you can't save all of it. Well, you can't make a difference. He said it made a difference to that one. So you want to save children when you can. And he says, why would I want to do that? Oh, my God.
And then he went on. And then he went on to say, "I have 1,200 people that are on furlough in my home state at an Air Force base. They have their own problems." Comparing people temporarily out of work with a kid with cancer. I mean,
There's a child who's suffering pain and sickness. That's just terrible. But that's how I'm telling you, out of touch.
Do you see a correlation there between what he said and the Democrats and his views on right to life and abortion?
Why do we want to save babies in the womb? Why do we want to save babies in the womb? Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
And it's still, if you will not let us give Planned Parenthood more money because they're the top abortion providers and they dispense free poison birth control. If you don't let us give them even more money than the millions we're giving them every year, we're shutting down the government. That's honestly what they're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Doctor, I know you just got off a plane. I know you made accommodations for us. It's always a great honor to talk to you, and I thank you very much.
I really appreciate it. See you, Steve.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care. Dr. Alveda King, ladies and gentlemen, the niece. I did not mention this at the beginning because to me it goes without saying, but the niece of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., her father himself, a civil rights activist who was slain as well, and she's just a great lady. And she doesn't get the media exposure that some other family members of the King family get because she made her life's work right to life. And the sanctity of life and saving little unborn babies. And the media doesn't like that. And Harry Reid, you know, has a problem. Why would I want to save one kid with cancer? I got people out of work because of this shutdown. They got their own problems. I mean, my guy. Now, today he said, oh, I didn't mean that. Of course, anybody who knows me knows, you know, I have 10 grandchildren. I don't care. You said what you said. That exchange went on for about 2.5 minutes. It's not like you slipped and said something you didn't mean and oh my God, you immediately tried to retract it. Not only did you say what you said, Mr. Majority Leader, but then you conducted a war on a woman by attacking the questioner, the female reporter, Dana Bash. And I know that before this lockdown at the Capitol, it was all going to be taken care of. It was all going to go away. They were going to kiss and sing Kumbaya because Dana Bash was actually in Harry Reid's office waiting for him to come do a one-on-one interview so they could have put a puff piece together and a softball interview, and he would have hugged her and kissed her and said, I love you. I think you're great. And you know I didn't mean what I said. I know, Senator. I know. You're under a lot of pressure. Oh, I love you, Dana. They were waiting. She was in the office. They were waiting to do that interview, and then the the lockdown, the shots fired, the lockdown at the Capitol, which, if you're just tuning in, has been resolved. It was a car chase that ended at the Capitol, went from the White House to the Capitol. The driver shot by police. Child found in a car, safe and sound. 2 people taken to the hospital. Original reports were that the driver, the female, was killed. That's not been confirmed. We have the police officer who was injured and the woman who was injured or killed taken to the hospital. No report on their condition. So we'll bring it to you when we get it. 855-777-9660. How interesting is the story of Alveda King that her prophet friend predicted the government shutdown and said that the government was conspiring to do this to hurt the American public. Interesting stuff. You believe that? You buy that? 855-777-9660. On the Steve Malzberg Show, day number 3 of my antibiotic regimen. I hope it's working because I don't want pneumonia. On Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real holding-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C.-based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting.
Who is LigNet?
LigNet staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan, Fritz Ehrmann. Former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela, Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Peter Hoekstra, also join our advisory board staff.
What is LigNet's mission?
Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events.
What are the benefits of joining LigNet?
There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President. There is a development of global proportions or a terror alert. Our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com/radio.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you an update. Fox News has confirmed, NBC News is reporting that the driver of the car chase at the Capitol, is dead. Okay, and I saw a video on Fox News during the break. Wow, the car ramming the barrier, surrounded by the White House, then surrounded by officers with their guns drawn, and the car is stopped, and then the car just backs up and peels out, and unbelievable video, which I'm sure you'll get to see, and we'll get to show it to you here if you're watching on Newsmax TV. But unbelievable stuff. Okay, let's get to a caller. Who do we have? Bruce from Missouri weighing in, or Missouri, as they like to say in Missouri, I believe. Hey, Bruce, thanks for calling the Steve Malzberg Show, 855-777-9660.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think they ought to go ahead and pass the Obamacare law with everybody being removed and not giving a carve-out or an exemption from it. So no big business, no corporations, no anybody. All the exemptions disappear. President Obama has to accept it and go through the same exchanges we do. Congress has to do exactly the same thing, and every corporation in the United States has to comply with the law immediately.
I think that is ingenious, and I'll tell you what. I heard Michelle Bachmann. I think I could be wrong, but I think early on I heard Michelle Bachmann say that's an option that they were talking about. I promise that I'm going to ask later on Congressman Bill Johnson about that. Because the reason that the Republicans are legitimate in doing what they're doing, the reason they have a right to do this is because Barack Obama, who keeps saying it's the law of the land, has also said, hey, I don't say that the law of the land doesn't have to be followed by this group or that group or that group, and he's doing it by dictate, like he's king. So you're right. Let the Republicans pass Obamacare, although I'm not happy about this, and if they pass the full bill with no exemptions. But then again, what's to stop Obama then from, it's already been passed in full. So really, what's to stop Obama from then signing that into law again and still then issuing the exemptions again?
No, Obama has to agree that no exemptions will be created for anyone.
All right, well, we'll see if that would happen. That's interesting. It's interesting. Barry, I got to go, but thanks for calling. Please do call me again. Very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I don't want them to do that, and they won't, but if that happened, I wonder how the president would react. Remember the case of the lesbian girl in Florida who had sex with the underage girl? A deal has been cut. We're going to talk about that and more when we go spinning the law with Kendall Coffey next on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
You have the right to remain silent, but we'd prefer if you didn't.
Spinning the law, spinning the law.
This is Malzberg's
Spinning the law.
Spinning the Law.
Spinning the law, spinning the law.
With attorney Kendall Coffey.
Yeah, that's what they say. Malzberg spinning the law. Welcome back. It is the Thursday edition. I can't believe it's Thursday. I swear, if you put a lie detector thing on me and said, when's the last time you spoke to Kendall Coffey? I'd say, I don't know, yesterday. I'd be telling the truth, but it's a week. Actually, it's almost a week. Last week was Friday. But nonetheless, hello, Kendall Coffey.
Hey, how are you, Steve? Well, of course, time flies. We have so much fun.
I'll tell you, never a dull moment. That's for darn sure. But thank you as always. I can't wait to get your take on some of these stories. First of all, the story that crossed the wire, and I'm sure would have been getting a lot of attention on the cable networks if it weren't for the car chase in D.C., and that is the story of Caitlin Hunt, a gay Florida teenager who has now reached a plea deal. She was accused of having sex when she was 18 with a 14-year-old girl. She had turned down a plea deal, then she was offered another one, and then it was withdrawn after the prosecutors discovered that in August that she was still sending text messages, nude photos, and video to the girl who's now 15 years old. There's been controversy. The parents of Caitlin have gone on a media offensive saying it's only because she's lesbian that they're trying to prosecute her. But, I mean, statutory rape is statutory rape, no?
Yeah, and the law assumes that, of course, a 14-year-old cannot lawfully give consent. And so if we put this in a more normal or in a traditional perspective, it's an 18-year-old male and a 14-year-old girl. Would there be consequences? Would there be prosecution? Would there be jail time? I think the answer is for sure. So, that's, if we're all trying to look at this as neutrally as possible, that would be the neutral perspective that I think ultimately was guiding the prosecutors here.
Yeah, now here's what she's going to get. I mean, there had been talk that she turned down a deal because she didn't want to be a registered sex offender. But I think she got a pretty good deal here. She's going to spend 4 months in jail as punishment. She's going to plead no contest in Vero Beach, or has already today. Supposedly, she'll plead no contest to battery, interference with child custody, and contributing to the dependency of a child. She will not have to register as a sex offender and could have her criminal record sealed if she doesn't get into trouble for 10 years. I believe she'll also be under house arrest for a couple of years or a couple of months. I forget where I saw that, after she's released from prison. So, good deal for her?
Good deal for her. Don't know who her defense lawyer is, but most of us would say he got a fine result for his client under the circumstances.
Julia Graves, I don't know if you know of her, defense attorney Julia Graves, said that her client wanted to move on to a somewhat normal life, so that's why she's doing it. Because every legal analyst I heard, whether they're usually to the left on cases or to the right, they all basically said that, this claim that it was some kind of witch hunt was unfounded, and that if this went to trial, she could go to jail for a long time because she'd be found guilty on the facts.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a case where she could really deny what happened or deny that it was illegal. So under the circumstances, not a registered sex offender, really, in the scheme of things, in these kind of cases, it's actually a modest amount of jail time. The defense lawyer knows better than to talk about what a great deal she got with her colleagues, but most of us watching this think she did very well for her client.
All right, we're talking to Kendall Coffey, famed defense attorney himself, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, let's move on and talk about this incident here in New York City. Most people have seen the video by now, and it's an SUV on the West Side Highway, which was surrounded by a group of motorcyclists. And apparently what happened was, I'll plead the defense case here, or the driver's case. He felt threatened. They actually wanted to halt traffic so they could do some tricks or wheelies or whatever, and he didn't know that. So they're pulling over, they're surrounding him and making them stop. So he tore out because he had his wife and a kid in the car. He felt threatened, and while tearing out, he unfortunately hits one of the motorcyclists. This person's now paralyzed. They chase this car down, make them get off the road and block them, and start beating on the windshield with helmets. And one guy pulls him out and starts beating him. Crazy case, and the police apparently are still trying to figure out, who to charge with what and who was to blame and what happened.
Well, the most obvious and saddest thing to say is what a tragedy this was. The other thing almost inevitably arises from high-profile tragedies is some desire for legislation. But I've got to tell you, the idea that somebody's going to pass a law, which apparently was referred to outlaw large groups of motorcyclists, riding together in groups, that kind of law would be hard to draft and virtually impossible to, or very, very difficult to enforce. I mean, what you have to look at this is one event that, everybody feels horrible about, and with the greatest kind of sympathy for the victim. But here's the question. If the driver is able to establish that he had a real sense of fear for the safety of himself and his family, I'd be surprised if the police make an arrest. If the police can establish that this driver was basically, in so many words, forced to hightail it out of there because of assaults or other crimes being perpetrated against the driver, there could be a theory of prosecution that makes individuals committing an assault or a battery on the motorist liable for the consequences of the tragedy. So the police have a lot to look at here, Steve.
Right.
And it's,
yeah. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and it's really going to center on what is the clear evidence that the motorcyclists were violating the law with creating this high degree of tension and even fear on the part of the motorist and his family.
What about the perception of the driver? If he felt fear, maybe they weren't assaulting him, they weren't banging on his car, they just, he was pulled over or felt pulled over. If he perceived that this gang was targeting him and they were a threat, and he said, I got to get out of here now before they all get in front of me or whatever, and he peeled out, and the result is what it was. I mean, is he legitimate? Is he excused for harming that motorcyclist who, in the process he sped away from, in effect, a crime that, a scene of an accident, which he probably didn't even know he hit him. Maybe he did know he hit him, but if he perceived danger, was he legit in getting the heck out of there?
Well, I think if he perceived that kind of danger, he's not likely to get charged criminally, but he's still going to get sued civilly.
Civil, sure, by the family, right. And as far as the
absolutely.
motorcyclists who tracked him down, and we saw them pounding on the, two of them with helmets, one bashing in the back window, one banging on the passenger window, and one of them eventually, we didn't see the video of this, but it exists, beating him up. I guess, they, no matter what had happened earlier, they have no right to beat him up, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All of those kind of acts of violence that threaten violence create criminal accountability.
All right, so we'll see how that plays out. The police commissioner and the prosecutors have a tough job ahead of them. Let's move on to Michael Jackson. I was driving home last night, and I heard the verdict, and this is I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know how much more money Michael Jackson's family could have or could want, but they wanted more, and they were suing the company called AEG that the singer Michael Jackson worked for. AEG hired Dr. Conrad Murray, who was found criminally negligent in the homicide of Michael Jackson for prescribing him and giving him the drugs he gave him. So the family sued the company that hired the doctor, and the jury found that, yeah, they hired the doctor, but no, the doctor, Dr. Murray, was not, I forgot what they actually said, not competent, not incompetent. They found that he was competent, and that he wasn't, the company could not be held liable for the death of Jackson. Now, did I explain it right?
Yeah, no, you explained it exactly right. And, at the end of it, you think the jury had to really think that Jackson wanted Murray. Jackson, even though the other company may have hired him and paid for him as part of the deal, Jackson was really calling the shots. And that, when you look at who's responsible, it seems apparent that the jury thought that, of course, Conrad Murray, who was convicted in the death of Michael Jackson, was found to be the most responsible. But that as between the concert promoter and Michael Jackson, that the late, great Michael Jackson, had a responsibility that couldn't be pushed away and pushed on this other company.
Right. All right, one more, and that involves the Boston bombing suspect, Zohar Tarznev. His lawyers are asking a judge to lift restrictions placed on him in prison, saying the conditions are overly harsh, have left him nearly totally isolated, and are impairing their ability to defend him. He has limited access to mail, telephone, and visitors. It's known as, I believe, special administrative measures. These are restrictions used in terrorism cases, and his lawyers are fighting it. Do they have a point on the inability to establish and wage an adequate defense?
Well, I'd be surprised if they do. I mean, of course, a client who's charged with crime, an incredibly serious crime like this, has to have access to his lawyer in our system. But I've been involved in not quite this kind of a case, but a case I was representing an anti-Castro activist who was accused of gathering and being prepared to deploy weapons to use against the Castro regime. And I got to tell you, the security measures were extremely, extremely stringent. But they make sure the lawyers have access, and you have access through a window, just like we've all seen in movies, and it's very limited, and there's plenty of protection, but the law is allowed to do that. And when somebody especially is charged with terrorism, my client wasn't charged with terrorism crimes, but when they're charged with terrorism, the law assumes that by the very nature of what they're doing, they're engaged in a willingness not only to inflict terrible atrocities, but to communicate with others is part of a broader network or broader scheme. So is this pretty strict, harsh stuff? Yeah. Are they almost assuredly giving him access to his attorneys? I am sure they are. Do we think the judge is going to change anything about this? I would be astonished.
Well, I do agree with you, and I'm sure you're right. And nobody has any sympathy, at least I don't, for this suspect who I don't think there's much question did what he's charged with doing. Kendall, as always, we thank you for your time. Fascinating 10, 15 minutes with us, and I look forward to the next time.
Hey, thank you, and thanks for the great theme music. It's always put a smile on my face.
Wait a minute, I thought you liked my singing.
Even more.
Oh, okay, all right, but you like the theme music. Good, okay. You don't want to hear me sing while I'm on antibiotics either. But Kendall Coffey, ladies and gentlemen, spinning the law on the Steve Malzberg Show. Lots of great stories that we had an opportunity to get the expert opinion and take on from Kendall Coffey. And hopefully next week we'll do the same. All right, we have one final segment left in hour number 2 of the Thursday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show, and we will come back and let you hear the reporter for MSNBC who tried to sign up for Obamacare in the second day of her efforts has finally given up. We'll let you hear how it went on day 1 and why she gave up right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real holding-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
This is the beginning of the login process. I'm creating an account, and it's pretty much like it would be for any other website. It's asking for name, email address, user ID. It says step 1 of 3, so I'll then start to input more information. So I was sent an activation link to my personal email account. I clicked on it, and now I'm going to proceed with setting up my account. So now that I have an account, it's asking me about myself. So this is step 2, filling out personal information about me and my family before I get to the final step of choosing a plan. I keep getting this error page. It won't let me progress past it won't let me progress past verifying personal information. So I'm going to call the help number now and see what they have to say.
All right, so that's MSNBC's Mara Schiavocampo, who was trying to sign up for Obamacare. And this was day 1. And she couldn't. And here's cut 22.
This is the beginning of the login process. So we're about 30 minutes into the process. I've been able to set up my account. I was in the process of verifying my identity, and I hit a roadblock on the website. I kept getting an error message. So I tried to initiate an online chat. That didn't go anywhere. Now I'm on hold. It's my second time calling, and we're 8 minutes into this call. There was a previous call that lasted about 3 minutes. So all in all, it's been about 10 minutes where I'm waiting to speak to a person. Right now, it's just repeating the same recorded message over and over again, telling me to hold on. So we'll see where it goes.
All right, we'll see where it goes. And let's go to the next cut. Here's where it went.
So this is a state-by-state process. Our executive producer tried to do it for a different state, New Jersey, and this is the screen that she got, that the system is down. So it just started ringing again, but I haven't reached a person yet. We're 15 minutes in now. And back to the recorded message. So it's 15 minutes into this. It's 15 minutes into this call now. This is the second call, so I've probably spent almost 20 minutes on the phone now. We started about 35 minutes ago, so at this point, I'm going to hang up and call it a day. If I were signing up for myself, this is where my patience would be exhausted.
And that's it. She hangs up. They tried it again. the next day and the same thing, and now they've stopped. They've given up. They're not going to do this anymore because it's too embarrassing for MSNBC to keep doing this. It's too embarrassing to the administration for them to keep doing this. So they're not going to do this. And I got stories here, folks, all over the place. Tennessee TV station can't find anyone who has successfully signed up for Obamacare. Exclusive. Less than 1% of visitors are signing up for Obamacare on state health exchange websites. Let's see. Where else do we have here? Another story here. Washington, CBS TV. Insurance manager. We have yet to have anyone sign up for Obamacare. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. Don't kid yourself. Now, another disaster being predicted by Barack Obama today is the Republicans won't agree to raise the debt ceiling, economic collapse, you won't get your Social Security checks. Hey, foreign countries, you better brace yourself. This could happen. He's talking the markets down. He's talking the world economy down. And CNBC's Michelle Caruso Cabrera, I want you to listen to her in cut number 25. This is from a couple of days ago.
The markets are not nearly as nervous as originally thought. We did see a sell-off yesterday, but a little more sanguine approach this morning. I think if it doesn't last very long, which is the assessment of a lot of folks, then the government shutdown doesn't necessarily have a big impact. There's a lot of skepticism that it has any kind of huge impact at all. Down 128 points yesterday, 10 points for the S&P as well. I've been listening with interest to what you guys have been talking about for the last 15 or 20 minutes. I do want you to know that there's a strong school of thought out there that says if we hit the debt ceiling, that it's not Armageddon, that we don't see skyrocketing interest rates. They keep saying default on our debt. We just heard Jay Carney say that. The chances of that happening are next to zero.
And now Michelle will tell us why the word default, in her opinion, this is 2 days ago, when it comes to the debt ceiling, is inappropriate, and we will not default. Here's cut 26.
Defaulting on debt means the U.S. government would not make an interest payment on a U.S. Treasury. Highly unlikely. And the other thing is, if you pay that late, if it were even to happen, that is not default. And for investors to suddenly sell U.S. Treasuries because there's going to be a 3-day payment late, highly unlikely. Because there are not many other choices in the world. Fear-mongering. Jay Carney's been fear-mongering on your network.
Okay, thank you so much.
Jay Carney has been fear-mongering. And Joe Scarborough, you should have seen Mika Brzezinski's face. I thought she might have to get one of those barf bags. Joe Scarborough saying, when he heard her say that Jay Carney's been fear-mongering when talking about the catastrophe awaiting if the debt ceiling isn't extended or raised, Joe Scarborough, okay. They don't want to hear that Jay Carney's fear-mongering on MSNBC. They don't want to have a reporter try to sign up for health care, Obamacare, and not be able to do it on MSNBC. They don't want their financial wizards from CNBC coming on Joe Scarborough and saying, this isn't as bad as they're making it out to be. They're fear-mongering in the administration. Okay, see ya. Goodbye, Michelle Caruso Cabrera. All right, folks, just thought you'd like to hear and see all that. Because this is the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you at the free website 99reverse.com. We reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Congressional leaders left the White House late last night without a deal to end the government shutdown, which is now well into its third day. House Republicans continue to try and pass individual bills to fund parts of the government. But Senate Democrats say it's all or nothing. End the government shutdown, which is now well into its third day. House Republicans continue to try and pass individual bills to fund.
There will be no negotiations over this. The American people are not pawns in some political game. You don't get to demand some ransom in exchange for keeping the government running. You don't get to demand ransom in exchange for keeping the economy running.
Meanwhile, Politico claims Senator Ted Cruz, who has pushed hardest for the repeal Obamacare or else tactic around the shutdown, was attacked by fellow Republicans. Who has pushed hardest for the repeal Obamacare or else tactic around the shutdown was attacked by fellow Republicans, saying that Cruz never had a strategy. Now to Tennessee, where a church bus crash left at least 8 people dead and more than a dozen other people injured Wednesday. The accident happened just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. The bus was carrying members of the Front Street Baptist Church, which is located in Statesville, North Carolina. That bus blew a tire, crossed over the median on the interstate, and then crashed into a tractor trailer and an SUV.
In my 17 years, probably the most serious incident that I've ever been a part of.
Of the 18 people on that bus, 6 of them died. One person traveling in the SUV was also killed, along with the driver of the tractor trailer. 2 of the injured remain in critical condition. And a ship carrying hundreds of African migrants caught fire and sank off the Italian island of Lampedusa Thursday. That boat began taking on water after its motor went out, and according to officials, passengers set fire on the small ship in hopes of flagging down more vessels for help. But that fire spread, and rescuers were only able to save about 150 people. So far, at least 94 bodies have been recovered, and there are about 200 others still missing out at sea, including children. And this is Christopher Cruz. As he was leaving a New York courtroom yesterday, he is now officially charged with reckless driving and this is Christopher Cruz. As he was leaving a New York courtroom yesterday, he is now officially charged with reckless driving and an SUV and a swarm of other bikers in New York. The second man, Alan Edwards, was arrested in connection with the case, but so far Cruz is the only one to be criminally charged. Prosecutors say they intend to take this case to a grand jury, a sign that more serious charges are likely. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, giant hornets are attacking people in China. Dozens have died. Wait till you see the damage these creatures are causing. Plus a Newsmax exclusive with Congressman Ted Poe of Texas. Is there any sign of compromise on the horizon? And see why Poe is comparing President Obama to a Roman emperor.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
And welcome back. In central China, dozens of people have now died after attacks from these giant hornets. Take a look here. Many of the victims were chased down before getting caught and stung over and over, some of them as many as 200 times, according to doctors. Hospitals have been flooded as a result, according to health officials. Residents have been warned to remain vigilant, and probably a good idea to stay inside, too. Well, that war of words between Democrats and Republicans shows no signs of ending, unlike this government shutdown. And despite that meeting Wednesday night between congressional leaders and the president, we just heard the president dig in and double down, saying he refuses to negotiate with Republicans like Congressman Ted Poe. And during a Newsmax exclusive, Poe compared Obama to Emperor Nero of Rome.
Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Nero blamed the Christians, and Obama blames the Republicans.
This has been your Newsmax Now update for October 3rd. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And just to bring you up to speed, in case you haven't heard, and I'll give you the latest that we have on what resulted in a lockdown at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Shortly before we went on the air, about 2:30 Eastern time, we heard from Susan Ferrecchio, our friend, chief congressional correspondent, Washington Examiner, who was caught up in it. And we heard from Congressman Peter King, who also was caught up in it earlier in the show. But we know a little bit more right now, and that is that a female in a car, and our great associate producer, let me get Rich, told me exactly what kind of car it was, and it's very interesting. I just want to tell you because it's a really good car. And, of course, I can't find it now. Of course, because anyway, I'll find out what the car was. But the bottom line is a woman in a car hit a barricade at the White House. There's video now of the police surrounding that car with guns drawn. She backs up and speeds away, leads the cops on a chase to the Capitol. She is surrounded by the cops. She either opens the door and or gets out. Cops shoot her, apparently. I've been seeing that there is absolutely no gun found yet from the woman, and no evidence that she fired any shots at the cops. Anyway, joining us right now, and she's dead, according to almost every report I've seen, and a police officer was wounded. He's in the hospital. Joining us now is our friend Charles Hurt, Washington Times columnist extraordinaire. Hey, Charles, how are you?
Good, Steve. How you doing?
All right. Where were you when all this chaos was taking place at around the Capitol?
I was actually on the road traveling, so I was about 2 hours away. But it's one of those sharp reminders that with email and internet and Twitter and all these things, you get information flies around so fast that within seconds you're getting it from all sides. And of course, as you were just pointing out, you also get all kinds of information that is kind of suspect, because at one point today we had 2 shooters. At one point today we had we had a woman who had a gun supposedly, and now, as you pointed out, I think CNN is now reporting that she did not have a gun, but rather and it's not clear whether police shot before she crashed into them, or after she crashed and tried driving away.
Yeah, well, yeah, you mean as to when she got hit? Well, yeah, because the video that I've seen showed, I'm sure you've seen the latest also, shows that they have their guns drawn, I guess when she hit the barrier or whatever by the White House that ordered her to stop, and then she just pulled out. And my first question was, why didn't they shoot her then? And now we know there was a child in the car. I thought I saw on one of the early footages a cop holding a kind of looked like an African-American baby in his arms and racing away from somewhere. So maybe that was the child that they found. There were also early reports that they didn't know there was a kid in the car when they opened fire. So I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. But CNN is still not saying that the person, that the shooter is dead, or the driver is dead. But every other network is saying that the driver is dead.
Yeah, that I noticed. I noticed that CNN report too, and I don't know if they're just trying to be extra careful because of some of the mistakes they made in the recent weeks. But certainly the footage I saw of police rescuing a baby was they were actually running through the Hart Senate office building. So that means, and you can make out this sort of distinctive marble in the background. And that would suggest that certainly the baby was in a car for the entire thing. But my goodness, Steve, I mean, we've seen a lot of these horrific episodes, but I don't remember one with as many bizarre specifics as this. And it really, it'll be interesting to get to the bottom of what this was all about. And hopefully it was not just some little misunderstanding, because it's a dire price to pay for something like that.
Absolutely. I mean, again, what we do know is that it was a woman with a kid in a car, and she did crash or hit a barrier. That now you would think, unlike the motorcycle incident on the West Side Highway, where the guy felt for fear of his life and peeled out and wound up, paralyzing one of the motorcyclists and all that, a case I discussed earlier in this show. You would think that if she made a mistake, if she accidentally backed into a barrier and didn't know where she was, or what, if she sees she's surrounded by cops, you would think she'd put her hands up and do what they're saying instead of like a scene from a movie. So I hope it wasn't, like you said, a misunderstanding, but she was running from the cops.
Sure, and we're not that this just an interesting detail. I saw pictures. I think it was a Getty Images picture of the crashed car, and it was a looked to me to be a newer model, shiny black Lexus, which just, I don't know,
Well, I got information that it was a black Infiniti G37 coupe, which is no slouch.
And of course, I wouldn't know the difference between the two.
Neither would I. But Rich, our associate producer here, Rich, just emailed me that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, both of those are fairly luxury cars, and it would suggest that that it was not. It was. I don't know. It just sort of seems to me that it's not a less of a case of haplessness.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, it could have been a stolen car. Who the heck knows? We'll find out the details.
But the kid, the child, this beautiful little girl.
I know.
My goodness, she looked like she probably was about 18 months, maybe.
Yep.
Shy of 2.
Yep.
And my goodness, what an awful thing to have been through. And if there is
Yeah, if it's her mother and she's dead, it's tons of questions, and when they held the little press briefing, I don't know if you saw that, you might have still been driving or you might have heard it, but there were not many answers forthcoming at that point at all. So we'll have to wait and see. But let's turn our attention to not the lockdown that was, but the shutdown that is. Like that? That's a radio transition right there. Anyway. I had Congressman Peter King on before, and I think he made some news. I asked him if there was any chance, because I've been hearing rumblings, and he kind of confirmed, although he doesn't know of any specific backroom talks that are taking place, but he thinks more Democrats and more Republicans are now interested in a budget deal, like for a year, to take care of this where we are now, combined with the raising of the debt ceiling. And he said the only negative is that it'll keep this going on for a few more days longer or a little longer, because they're not going to stop that now, but because he thinks that they're going to wind up with a deal that encompasses both.
It's funny because it's so fun. People, yourself and myself included. We love to kick these people around for all of this kind of behavior and love to make fun of them about it. But if that is what happens, that is what is supposed to happen. That's how compromise is reached in this town, and it's how the balance of powers works. It's how the two branches come together and figure things out. And it's why, quite frankly, to listen to President Obama rule out any hint that he would negotiate with Republicans on the debt ceiling, that he would negotiate with Republicans on what appears to be a disastrous rollout of Obamacare, that he would just summarily suggest, absolutely declare that Congress has no right to take part in this discussion about the nation's finances. It shows a shocking lack of understanding of the Constitution, but also a real cavalier haughtiness that I don't think wears well with the American people in the long run, and haughtiness that I don't think wears well with the American people in the long run, and more of a right that they are in charge of the purse strings. The reason the Treasury Department is built between the White House and Congress is so the president can look out, and if he wants to look at Congress, the Treasury is right there in the foreground. And so if Peter King is right, and they do begin negotiating deals that satisfy both sides to some degree, then heck, that's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely, and what I had heard, the reason I asked him that question was I had heard that Democrats in the Senate seem to favor that, and although a lot of Democrats in the House don't, they would be persuaded. So we'll see. But I want you to hear the rhetoric. I mean, it is, and these are in my view, left-wing nut jobs anyway. But listen to Stephanie Miller. First of all, yesterday we had Harry Reid saying to Dana Bash, "Why would I want to help a kid with cancer? I got 1,200 people on furlough in my home state working at an Air Force base. They got their own problems." You know, and I know that if that was Boehner or Cruz or any Republican, that would have been it. They would have had to resign. But listen to Stephanie Miller, left-wing talk show host, talking about Republicans. This is cut 47.
I don't appreciate them holding my children hostage. I don't appreciate them holding myself hostage or my.
May I correct you? They are not holding your children hostage. They are trying to blow your children up. There is a difference. They are suicide bombers. They are no longer hostage takers. They are no longer just regular terrorists. They are suicide bombers.
All right, they're suicide bombers. Let's go to Martin Bashir on MSNBC talking about Barack Obama, cut 48.
McKay, how long will it be before the president is accused of being an angry black man because he said he is exasperated?
Well, I won't be making that accusation.
You won't be. That's why you're on this broadcast. It's not going to be long, though.
Well, I won't be making that accusation.
You won't be. That's why you're on this broadcast. It's not going to be long, though.
Joe Madison, who I don't have time to play this cut, was on with Al Sharpton, and he said that they can't stand an intelligent, articulate black man in office. I mean, this is just so over the top, all of it.
Yeah, and I think, from our perspective, it's frustrating because we see this and we see the media ignore it, overlook it. Meanwhile, if some random Tea Party person says something that is impolitic, it gets run up the flagpole, and everybody is shocked and horrified by it, and everybody gets beat up over it. But, you know, the truth of the matter is I increasingly believe that this kind of ridiculous rhetoric, and the ridiculous statements from people like, not random people, but people like President Obama and Harry Reid.
Yep.
These things start to pile up, and maybe it doesn't turn everybody all at once, maybe it doesn't turn anybody in an instant. But the constant barrage of them that we hear, and we've been hearing, you and I have been hearing them for years.
Yep.
And we've been scratching our heads that something doesn't register. At some point, it gets so overwhelming that it does register, and people turn on them. And it's what happened to George Bush with Katrina. It was the little things that added up, and then finally it was one thing that just everybody was like, he doesn't get it. He's not looking out for us or whatever. And when that moment happens, given all the exhaustive promises that we've heard from President Obama and the Democrats and in the Senate, when that moment shifts, I would not want to be a Democrat in the Senate, and I wouldn't want to be President Obama.
Yep.
Because when that mood sours, man, it's going to be ugly for them.
I couldn't agree with you more. Hey, Charles, thanks for taking the time. As always, we'll speak to you next week, my friend.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care. Charles Hurt, ladies and gentlemen. Washington Times columnist here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy. We'll play that Joe Madison cut when we come back. Okay, him and Al Sharpton. I'm disappointed in Joe Madison. I've known him over the years from time to time. I've been on panels with him. There's no place for that kind of garbage. And what? And what was it? They didn't like a hillbilly in office? If you call, what would you call Bill Clinton, Joe, when they impeached him? What was it? He was white? Give me a break. Anyway, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg Show, 855-777-9660, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver. No obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast
and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. Steve at 1-855-777-9660.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Let's see if we have time to get to this, the Joe Madison, Al Sharpton cut. This is cut number 49. It'll be cut 49. The host of Politics Nation, Al Sharpton, talking about a bill mentioning the crack house. I don't know. Let's hear Joe Madison, and here it is.
They sign up to the exchange, then they'll have it. So it's getting them out of the house or the crack house or wherever they are to get it to sign up. But if they sign up, they have it.
The crack house? So what's behind this talk?
Oh, let me tell you, they just can't stand the fact that they've got a very smart, intelligent black man that has out-thought them, out-campaigned them, beat them twice without any controversy. The nerve, the absolute nerve to use crack cocaine, something that destroyed individuals, destroyed families, practically destroyed communities, to compare it to something that heals people, that brings families together, that allows them to save money, allows them to be well, is absolutely absurd.
Oh, Joe doesn't like the rhetoric. Joe doesn't like Bill O'Reilly saying that people will come out of the crack house to get health care. I wouldn't have used that terminology myself, but I didn't hear Joe say, hey, you know what else I don't like? I don't like the people on the left. I don't like Martin Bashir. I don't like Stephanie Miller. I don't like Bill Press. I don't like the whole Democratic Party. Talking about the president, talking about holding hostages, suicide bombers, kidnappers, ransom. I don't like any of that. But no, that's okay. That's okay. Just don't say anything that Joe Madison doesn't like. And when you do, then it must be because you can't stand an intelligent black man, right? Give me a break, Joe. Really, for crying out loud. What do you got, Chris Matthews disease? Enough with this crying racism when there's no racism. I shouldn't say there's none. Some people don't like Barack Obama because he's black. Some people don't like me because I'm white. But to blame everything, every disagreement policy-wise, and saying they don't like a black man in the White House, that's so beneath Joe Madison and the others, I thought. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real hold-in-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it.
That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54. With a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is our friend, former FBI Special Agent and president of Guandolo and Associates, author of a great new book, Raising a Jihadi Generation, is John Guandolo. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm great, Steve. Thanks for having me on again.
I just wonder, I mean, I know you're in and around the D.C. area. You have any take on what the heck took place there today?
No, it's a strange occurrence. We had a woman who had a child in her car try to plow through the gates at the White House, led police on a high-speed chase, and was shot. And according to news reports, although the police haven't said anything yet, was killed in the shootout. And that's about all we know right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been reporting that. Actually, they don't know that she actually had a weapon, that she fired any shots. There's a question as to whether or not, she panicked or what, why she did what she did. Did she actually try to crash the gate, or did she hit the barrier while trying to escape from the police? I mean, there's a million questions to be answered, but I just wondered in your capacity and former capacity if you had any opinions or what this might be all about.
Yeah, no, we don't until we know more about her, and there was no identification found at the scene, and according to sources with Capitol Police, there was not a weapon found.
Right.
So be curious what that's about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. You're one of the few people willing to talk about the influence of the Muslim Brotherhood movement here in the United States, and that's what your book, Raising a Jihadi Generation, is all about. You started the FBI training for counterterrorism with the FBI. You held and ran the first classes, and now, of course, those basically have been watered down to non-existent, and in part because of the influence from groups within the United States. Some would say groups like CARE, but also groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, who have infiltrated the highest branches of our government, and now sit on Homeland Security and intelligence and elsewhere, and use their influence to have things like the terrorist training or counterterrorism training with the FBI watered down to where it becomes ineffectual almost.
That's right, and that really is the whole point of the book, is for state, local law enforcement, as well as military analysts and citizens. I mean, I wrote the book in a very tight format, so it's simple to read. It's packed with factual information and evidence. And what it does is it lays out the network that they have here. If you just a few data points, the Muslim Student Association in 1963 was created by the Muslim Brotherhood. It was the first Islamic organization created in America. And over the next 20 years, almost every single Islamic organization created came out of the MSA and was created by the Brotherhood. In 2008, the Holy Land Foundation was the largest Islamic charity in America. At the time it was indicted, and it was convicted of being a Hamas entity. And today we have over 600 MSAs, Muslim Student Associations, on nearly every college and university campus, certainly the major campuses. And we have over 2,100 Islamic centers, a majority of them controlled by the Brotherhood, and they say those centers are the point from which they're going to launch the jihad. So we have this massive infrastructure, and the practical reality is that not only the subversion that you're talking about and the political influence that's going on, because we know that, as we talked before here, the leaders, the advisors to the FBI, CIA, DHS, Department of Defense, we've identified them by name as being a part of this movement. But the other thing is these major jihadi events. We have the 9/11 report tells us that the Islamic Center in Southern California, and where two of the San Diego hijackers were, is a Muslim Brotherhood front, and that provided logistical support.
And the same thing in Boston, the Boston Islamic Society, the Islamic Society of Boston, the brothers went to, correct?
That's right, and that is a subsidiary of the Islamic Society of North America, which, as you know, is the largest MB front in America, and that was founded by the Al-Qaeda financier Abdurrahman al-Amoudi. You've got the Muslim American Society and the Islamic Circle of North America, Brotherhood entities, whose training guide or Tarbiyah guide calls for American Muslims to wage war against un-Islamic governments. And it goes on and on. We can just look at the all of these instances that we've had. You can tie back to them being quote-unquote radicalized at Muslim Brotherhood organizations.
How does this happen 12 years after 9/11? How have we gone completely backwards the other way to get to this point where if I say this or you say this, we're going to be labeled as homophobes, Islamophobes. The media will never talk about this. They'll think we're crazy. They won't want, if I was a guest on a show, they would say, if I ever said this on CNN or something, they'd never have me back. How did we get to this point where if you get one or 2 people who shoot an abortion doctor in 15 years, and if they claim they did it because they're Christian, well, then Christians are nuts too, they'll say. So they'll indict a whole religion over 1 or 2 people. But here we have a worldwide movement. We see what's taking place in the Arab countries, the Muslim countries with the killing of Christians, and the African countries. But here within this country, it's in our own country what you're describing in your book. And the media, the government, the people are silent. How did that happen?
Well, there are a couple of things I'd like to maybe encourage your listeners to be open to. One is, these guys came to us right after 9/11, again, wearing suits and ties with smiles, saying, we're here to help you, even though the evidence is that the leadership of all of the prominent Islamic organizations in North America are a part of this movement. That's a fact. But I would also offer this, Steve. I would say the problem isn't them, isn't the enemy. The problem's us. We have lost our foundations, not just as a country, but individually. I think we've lost as communities the very foundation that created this country to begin with. I mean, the Declaration of Independence is the principle upon which the Constitution and everything we have was built. And it says our rights come from our Creator, come from God. And no man and no government can take them from us. And we, as a community of Americans, surrender a little bit of that liberty, which is given to us by God, in order to create a government, a federal government, to protect and secure those liberties, national defense, and the things only specifically articulated in the Constitution. All the rest of our rights, all the rest of the duties and responsibilities reside with the state and with the individuals. And we collectively have allowed those to be stripped from us without any fight whatsoever, because it's happened slowly over a period of time. And it's time that the American people rip those liberties back out of the hands of the federal.
John, when I talk about few people are willing to talk up, another one is my good friend Andy McCarthy, who wrote the foreword to your book. People should go to your website, understandingthethreat.com. Understandingthethreat.com. They could get the book there, which is Raising a Jihadi Generation. Understanding the Muslim Brotherhood Movement in America, Raising a Jihadi Generation, by our guest, John Guandolo. John, a pleasure to talk to you. We'll have you back soon, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
All right,
Take care.
Take care. All right, folks, when we come back, we'll be joined by Congressman Bill Johnson, Republican from the great state of Ohio. And we'll find out where he was during the lockdown in D.C., and we'll talk to him about efforts to possibly reach an agreement on a budget, on a debt ceiling increase, as indicated by Peter King. When we come back, right here, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now, while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now
very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream. Streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, we are back here on the Steve Malzberg Show, awaiting the phone call from Congressman Bill Johnson, Republican from Ohio. In the meantime, let me give you this story right here. A police officer who dropped off his daughter at her Phoenix Elementary School, police officer, was asked by the school's principal not to wear his uniform to the school because other parents were concerned that he was carrying a gun. All right, we'll have more on this tomorrow. Okay, but right now we are joined by Congressman Bill Johnson, Republican from the great state of Ohio. Hello, Congressman. How are you, sir?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I appreciate you coming on. You did a great thing today. You went on CNN after Barbara Boxer, and you corrected her misstatement that was not corrected by Ashley Banfield, who did correct something else. She said that there was no government shutdown under Tip O'Neill. But she claimed, Boxer did, that the health care bill was a bipartisan bill passed by Democrats and Republicans alike. And you came on after her and said, wait a minute, not one single Republican voted for that bill. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you very much. And not to mention that that the majority of Americans today are saying that they don't like that law and that they've got major concerns with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, first of all, you, as I should tell the folks, a retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and we're very proud of that, and thank you for your service. But I know how much I know what it did to you, because I know what it did to me, and I've never served, to see what they've done to the World War II veterans and how they treated them and purposely putting up barricades. I know that outraged you.
It did outrage me, and this is an example of what this administration continues to do. Every time we come up against one of these fiscal issues, they try to make it as painful as they can on the most vulnerable of our Americans, our seniors, our veterans, those that are dependent upon the federal government for the services or for the benefits that they've earned. And it was despicable what they did. In '95, when the federal government shut down, Bill Clinton did not go out and shut down the memorials.
No, absolutely not. It's unprecedented. Now I'm watching a monitor of the president saying out there again that Boehner doesn't want to anger the extremists. This high voltage rhetoric, which he is so good at, this divisive rhetoric of his. But let me ask you, having said that, I had Congressman Peter King on a little earlier, and I asked him if there's any talk of possibly backroom negotiations going on or working out some kind of deal that would include maybe funding the government for a year and raising the debt ceiling, which of course would involve negotiations and give and take. He said he's starting to hear that. I also got that from Susan Ferrecchio, chief congressional correspondent at Washington Examiner, that Democrats in the Senate now appear to be open to that, and they will convince Democrats in the House. Have you heard any of these rumblings?
Well, I'm certainly hearing things, but we'll have another conference tomorrow, and I will find out more details at that point. But I can tell you right now, this president is going to have to begin to show real leadership. And Steve, leadership is not about sitting in the White House. It's not about holding an office or wearing a title. It's about producing results and influencing the outcome. That's what leaders do. And you don't get to take your ball and go home when things don't go your way. You have to stay in the game. You have to gut it out. That's the American way. We're problem solvers, and that's what we need to be doing in this case.
When Harry Reid said to Dana Bash of CNN yesterday, when she said, look, the Republicans in the House have passed funding for the National Institute of Health, and if you could save even one child who has cancer, why don't you just pass it in the Senate? And he said, why would we? He said, I have 1,200 people on furlough in an Air Force base in Nevada, and they have their own problems. Now, if you had said that, sir, or if John Boehner had said that, or Ted Cruz, or any Republican, you'd probably have to resign by now, because notwithstanding the news of the lockdown in Washington today, it would have been the news all day long, and every Republican would have been responsible for that one statement. Yet, Harry Reid gets a pass.
Well, he does get a pass, and that is, that's a problem that we've got in our country today. The mainstream media, and Steve, I'm not including you in
well, I'm certainly not mainstream.
So, the mainstream media today tells the American people what's important. They tell the American people what to think about what's important. They even try to tell the American people who to vote for. I mean, if you're not one of the mainstream media's top personalities in the nation, then you don't even get an opportunity to be visible as a potential leader at the senior level. And what we need today is real leadership in Washington. This mule-headed, dig in your heels at all cost approach that's going on, sometimes on both sides of the aisle, by the way, but certainly with this president and Harry Reid, it's gone to epic proportions. But that kind of attitude has got to stop. That's not what leaders do.
Yeah, I got one more for you, Congressman.
Yes,
where were you? We're talking to Congressman Bill Johnson, Republican, Ohio. Where were you at about 2:30 Eastern time when the shooting, the bullets rang out, and the lockdown took place?
Wow, I had just finished the voting series. I was already back in my office in a series of meetings when the alarms went off that said lock your doors and stay inside. I was watching it play out on the news just like everybody else in America was. So. To be honest with you, other than the brief news conference that the Capitol Hill Police put out, I know about as much about the details of what happened as you do.
And what were you thinking? I mean, as I asked earlier of others, given the climate with the shutdown, plus anytime anything like that happens, it would be of concern and scary. What was going through your head?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I gave no thought to who the perpetrator or perpetrators might be. My first thought was, oh, my God, I hope no one is seriously hurt. And I began to think of my colleagues. I began to think of the staff. I began to think of the Capitol Hill Police, who would naturally and immediately respond to such a thing. And I haven't heard the condition of the one Capitol Hill policeman that was.
Yeah, no, we don't know anything about his condition. Yeah, so do we all. But one other thing I was remiss.
Yes.
Lots of times, especially to Republicans, the media is attacking you guys by saying, "You're going to take your salary? Are you going to take your salary?" And I know that you and they only ask them, but and you, but you, I believe, have decided to do something with your salary during the time of the shutdown. Correct?
Absolutely, I am. The American people have been put out. We've got millions that are furloughed and out of work. We've got families that have gone on a long planned vacation, and now they show up and they can't get in our national parks and monuments and things. It's not right for the president. In fact, I don't think the president should be paid during a time like this either. It's irresponsible for leaders to be able to draw their salary when they're not doing their job. So I'm going to donate mine to a charity during this period.
That's very admirable, sir, and we appreciate you doing that and appreciate you coming on. I hope you'll come back.
Hey, thanks a lot, Steve.
All right, thank you. There you go, folks. Congressman Bill Johnson, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and the game goes on and on. We're going to see. We're going to see. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Dana Bash got her interview with Harry Reid. That's right. She got her interview. Senate Majority Leader talks to CNN. Reid on government shutdown. Stalemate. That's wonderful. That after he insulted her and called her irresponsible for daring to ask a question, he picked up the phone, I'm sure, called her up. Now they're playing I could see they're playing the confrontation yesterday where he called her irresponsible for daring to ask him that question about saving a kid with cancer's life. And now they're playing it, and now they're going to laugh about it. You didn't mean that, did you? No, of course not. I got 10 grandkids. I'm a nice guy. And when I called you irresponsible, I don't know what I was thinking. You're the best, Dana, whatever. Please, it's just so sickening. It really is. It really is. He's smiling now, Harry Reid. I'm not known for being real articulate, but what I was trying to say is we can't be piecemealing all this stuff. We have Centers for Disease Control that's closed. We have thousands and thousands of women and children who are not, I'm reading the able to get their, come on, their closed captioning, their whatever. Okay, still doesn't excuse you for not saving the life of a kid with cancer just because others are suffering. And by the way, the Republicans have said they'll keep passing these bills funding everything Harry Reid is saying is still shut. They'll keep passing bills funding it. But Harry Reid won't budge because the president's telling him not to. So all these people that the Republicans would reopen services for will not have services reopened because Harry Reid and Barack Obama say all or nothing. And that includes you, kids with cancer. But he's a nice guy. He's got 10 grandkids. None of them have cancer, thank God. Steve Malzberg Show, News, Max TV, and Radio.